Welcome to Beyond the Magic, where we explore the stories, secrets, and fun facts behind all things Disney. I'm Harm, your guide through the happiest place on earth and beyond. Whether it's the park history, the latest Disney news, or tips to make your trip extra special, we've got you covered. So grab your Mickey ears and let's dive into today's adventure. Today we're going to talk about the history of the Haunted Mansion. So in 1951, Harper Goff created a drawing of a crooked street leading away from Main Street by a peaceful church and graveyard with a rundown manor on top of a hill that towered Main Street. Walt Disney assigned Imagineer Ken Anderson to create a story based on the sketch. Walt wanted to create a New Orleans land between Frontierland and Adventureland. They promised a thieves' market, pirate wax museum, and a haunted house walkthrough. Anderson got to work and studied New Orleans to create a more authentic vibe. He created a drawing of Antebellum Manor with features from the Baltimore House, a yard full of overgrown grass with weeds, dead trees, swarms of bats, and boarded up doors and windows and screeching cats. So like if Shrek's swamp was in the Batman cave. However, Walt didn't like the idea of an overgrown, uncared for manor, which I think makes sense in that he wanted everything in his park to look pristine and inviting. Walt went to the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. He loved the huge mansion with the stairs to nowhere, the doors that opened to walls and holes and elevators. Anderson also seemed like he was getting ideas for the mansion, like a ghostly sea captain who killed his bride and hung himself, a mansion home to an unfortunate family, and a ghostly wedding party. The Haunted Mansion completed construction in 1963, but it didn't open until 1969. This was because in 1964 to 65, Walt was busy with the New York World's Fair, where he showed off his animatronics like Mr. Lincoln. He demoed It's a Small Ride, the People Mover, which at the time he called the Ford's Magic Skyway, where he had people go through the history of transportation, and that idea inspired for the People Mover. He also demoed the Carousel of Progress. During the fair, multiple Imagineers had brought ideas for the Haunted Mansion. Raleigh Crump wanted weird objects like coffin clocks, candlemen, talking chairs, man-eating plants, gypsy wagons, and a mirror with a face. Disney accepted the ideas and wanted to turn them into a restaurant side to the Haunted Mansion, like the Blue Bayou is for pirates. Walt called it the Museum for the Weird. Davis and Coates were the main Imagineers for the Haunted Mansion project. However, there were conflict in ideas because Coates wanted it to be moody with endless hallways, bleaky environments, so like Tim Burton Corpse Bride spooky, and Davis wanted there to be silliness and full of gags, so like Jim Carrey's The Mask silly theme. And in the end, another Imagineer, Antencio, brought their kooky ideas together by creating transitions from dark and foreboding to spirited entertainment. And then Walt died in 1966, and the Disney company decided to refurbish the Haunted Mansion. They scrapped the museum for the weird restaurant idea and created the Doom Buggy from the Omnimover system, so that they can control what guests see and hear at any given time. The buggies could hold up to 3 people at a time, so it was good for high capacity. Alright, so that's the history of the Haunted Mansion. What's the story once you get inside? Well, It's up for interpretation, but you enter the mansion and are greeted by the disembodied voice of the ghost host. In the stretching room, the paintings elongate, revealing darkly comedic scenes that hint at tragic backstories. The host teases that there will be no turning back now. After boarding your doom buggy, the tour starts in a long, eerie hallway where haunted portraits and flickering lights set the tone. You go into the mansion's interior where haunted books float and ghostly piano music echoes through the halls. A ghostly candelabra floats in the distance, hinting at the mansion's supernatural presence. In the seance room, Madame Leota, a spirit trapped inside a crystal ball, summons the mansion's ghosts to materialize with her incantations. This marks a turning point as the ghosts become visible. Then we get to the ballroom scene, one of the ride's most iconic moments. The doom buggy overlooks a grand ballroom where spirits dance, dine, and celebrate. Ghosts appear as shimmering, semi-transparent figures thanks to a special effect called Pepper's Ghost. Then we go into the attic, where it reveals a more sinister side of the mansion. Here, a ghostly wedding portraits and eerie objects hint at the story of Constance Hatchaway, a ghost bride who murdered her husband for their wealth. She appears menacingly, reciting dark wedding vows. In the graveyard scene, the doom buggy exits the mansion and enters a graveyard alive with spirits celebrating their afterlife. Ghosts sing the iconic song Grim Grinning Ghosts and engage in comedic antics, showcasing the lighter side of the afterlife. As you near the end of your tour, you encounter the famous hitchhiking ghosts who attempt to follow you home. The ghost host cheerfully warns that a ghost will follow you home, adding a fun twist to your exit. While the Haunted Mansion doesn't provide a concrete narrative, elements like the ghost host's mysterious death, Constance Hatchaway's murderous past, and Madame Leota's seance suggest of a larger story of tragedy and supernatural events. Each room offers glimpses into the mansion's history, its former residents, and their humorous acceptance of their ghostly fate. The ride balances spooky and funny moments, creating a story that's engaging, whimsical, and just eerie enough to leave a lasting impression. I also wanted to get into the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay since it happens every year. In 1993, Tim Burton created The Nightmare Before Christmas, and it became a family staple to watch both during Halloween and Christmas every year. It's become a cult classic to many, especially millennials. Disney wanted a reason for the season for Halloween and Christmas. Now that we know the Haunted Mansion's history, we know from its development that it's both spooky and whimsical, which is exactly what The Nightmare Before Christmas is as well. Creating this spooky mansion marriage, they're able to have a ride up for September to January for guests to come and see something new dedicated to these holidays. Doing this, the overlay reimagines the mansion as if Jack Skellington and his friends from Halloween Town took over to celebrate Christmas in their quirky, spooky way. Such as familiar settings like the ballroom and graveyard are updated with vibrant decorations, creepy gifts, and characters like Zero and Oogie Boogie, giving the mansion a more whimsical, festive atmosphere. The Nightmare Before Christmas overlay bridges two holidays, capitalizes on the popularity of the film, and gives Disney fans an entirely new way to experience the Haunted Mansion. And before we go, I wanted to add in some fun facts about the Haunted Mansion. Madame Leota's face belonged to a Disney Imagineer. The face Madame Leota, the floating head in the crystal ball, was modeled after Imagineer Leota Toombs. Her voice, however, was provided by actress Eleanor Aldi, who also voiced Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty and Lady Tremaine in Cinderella. Grim Grinning Ghosts have hidden lyrics. The attraction's theme song, Grim Grinning Ghosts, was written by the Sherman Brothers. If you listen closely, each section of the song corresponds with the scene you're in, from eerie to comedic. The ghost host has an origin. Fans speculate that the ghost host that you hear narrating the ride is one of the mansion's ghosts, and possibly the one hanging in the stretching room ceiling. And lastly, hidden Mickeys are everywhere. Look closely in the ballroom scene and other parts of the ride. You'll find hidden Mickeys like plates arranged to form Mickey's iconic silhouette. Thanks for tuning in to Beyond the Magic. I hope you enjoyed today's deep dive into the history of the Haunted Mansion. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share the magic with a friend. You can find us on Beyond the Magic on Instagram, Threads, and YouTube for more Disney fun and updates. Until next time, keep dreaming big and exploring the magic around every corner. As Mickey Mouse says, see ya real soon.